Right guys, join me down at Stoneacres. This is my first diary piece that I've managed to put together this season since it opened up on June the 1st for us on the syndicate. Now Stoneacres has lived up to its expectations in more ways than one. It's nowhere near a runs water. It's what, 52 acres with 50 to 55 fishing. So you can imagine the challenge to get one of them specimens on the bank is it's going to be hard. But yeah, you join me now on Big Point. Arrived last night and managed about 6:30 got here, so quickly got the rods because obviously I'm chasing the light hours now because it goes dark about 8:20. Yeah, so I managed to go out. I know there's 2 bars that come off the island. I've gone to the furthest bar, but I've seen fish showing on my previous sessions in that sort of zone, so I thought that'd be a starting point to go from. And I found a polished part of the bar, so I've put 2 rods on that, and with my left hand rod I've come slightly closer and I found a little spot. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 6 foot wide, but inside it's all mussel shells and stuff like that, and in the middle it looks like it's just been polished. So put a single, it's only about 50 yards out, but I've put 1 rod on that now, so hopefully you know, that might do me a bite. Obviously in my last sessions I probably will go into a bit more detail later on, but for now yeah, my plan of attack is really just to sit it out. If I see anything else show along that bar or close to it, I potentially will move it, but I'm going to just try and keep the boat activity to a minimum. The lake itself now is busy. Obviously it's bank holiday weekend, and all the major swims now are busy, and they were busy when I came. I think I just dropped lucky. The guy maybe in this swim had just vacated before my arrival, but yeah, I'm happy where I've got. I'm not stuck into like a little corner and stuff like that, so I've got options. So yeah, we'll see what pans out on this one. I've got 3 nights, but yeah, hopefully I can get one on the bank. But like I said, I'll go into more detail about my other bits, what I've done previously later on, but I'll catch you later. Right, well, we're coming up to the second night now, so yeah, nothing's happening in the daytime, been a bit quiet really. A lot of boat activity going out, but like I said before, I'm just going to try and keep my boat activity a bare minimum. I'm happy where they went out last night. I probably would put them exactly in the same spots, so what I'm doing, you know, I wouldn't change. So that for me is now just sit on my hands and just see what happens with the fish really. So let you know what I've been doing obviously since the start of the syndicate. Obviously we came in June the 1st. We had a draw then because of the amount of anglers that were fishing on that day. I chose the chow mein swim. On that swim itself, I found a silty area which I chose to fish, which resulted in the bait coming back, and it was tarnished, the actual white pop-up that I was using, and really didn't smell very nice. So I was a little bit like, you know, where should I target the silty areas or target the gravel? So after that I started to then target the gravel areas. There was a big southwesterly due, so I got down to the lake and opted for a swim called Left Gravelies. I found 3 fantastic spots. One on the left hand I would have put as a banker spot really, but the fish never turned up. They just sort of ended up in front of a swim called the Rake swim, which I was a bit surprised about really, but again, you know, you just learn, don't you? You know, it's always, you know, you've got to see what the fish are doing and stuff. So after that I came on my next session, went into a swim called the Burgesses. So on the back of where I think the fish were moving, and they were going from the Rake swim past chow mein in front of tits, and I thought, with the wind direction, they're going to come in front of me. So I set up stall there, but there was a lot of like floating weed, rafts of weed everywhere. So I could only fish the first bar, and I got tenched. And then the second night, the wind shifted the weed to my left, which opened up more opportunities. So I then did put my left-hander further out onto the second bar, and left it there for the night, and then the fish turned up. So I was just sat on my hands again, waiting and waiting and waiting, but they just never picked me up. So, but you know, you can't, like I said before, this lake is so hard, so it was never going to be easy. So with that in mind, there was a pattern forming then in my head. I managed to get down on my next trip, and I managed to get into the swim called the Rake. Now I know there was a feature in there called the Table and Chairs, so I opted to fish that first, and then I'd find another area with my left hand rod. So I did find an area with a silt, like a silty channel. So I'd done 2 nights on this gravelly spot, the Table and Chairs, and then I opted to go to this silty channel where I'd seen fish closer to the island, one on the left and one on the right. So mate Steve, he come down, do a bit of filming and stuff, and it really looked spot on. He went, and then that morning, first light, the right hand rod just, well, it didn't rip off, it just single beat, got out, and then it was like, the clutch like clicked twice, hit it just into some weight, and I felt the line, and it was just like nothing there. I was like, so I sort of slowly pulled. Anyway, it just started coming in, and I just thought I'd been done, and I was bringing in a ball of weed, if I'm honest. And as it coming in halfway around, this way it started boom, 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 and then it just started taking line. So that was it. My heart was in my mouth. And I played this fish and let it have the open water as much as it could. It did, you know, it wasn't doing me any harm. And eventually I got the better of the fish. I could see it on the top, and I just guided it into the net. And yeah, I was over the moon with that. It turned out to be the bearded lady. She came in at 33 pounds 8 ounces. So yeah, I was just well over the moon. I finally done something, found, you know, with my rigs, I've adjusted my rigs, and yeah, it's something that worked, and I got my first Stoneacres fish on the actual mat. The lake was quite quiet as well. There was a guy in this swim, and there was also a guy in the swim called the Tits. So he came over and did some shots for me in the water, and obviously he went back to get onto his rods as well. So yeah, totally made up with that. So that was 12 nights in, and I managed to land one. So yeah, absolutely wicked. Again, that was taken on nuts, like crushed tiger nuts with a roasted extract over the top, crushed and crumbled live system, and then I topped it off with a northern special. So yeah, been made up with that, absolutely made up. So now it brings me on to now this session. So I am confident. Again, there's a lot of anglers on the lake, but if I can keep the boat activity to a minimum, unless I get tenched and have to go out and reset the rods, them rods are staying out until I go now. I've got no reason to go out, like I said before. So fingers crossed. I'll keep you updated, and next time I see you, I'll hopefully have a fish to show you. guys, and like always on Stoneacres, I've got nothing to report. I have been hawk-eyeing this water like you would not believe, and there's just been no shows whatsoever. The fish here are just so moody. You know, you can have one show, or you can have like maybe 6 shows, or then they just shut up shop. Like I said yesterday, there's a lot of angling pressure on this weekend, maybe because it's the bank holiday. And my plan was obviously to find the spots, to go out in the boat and leave them well alone. Now we're on to what, coming up to night 3 now, and it's probably it's a long time for them rigs to be out there. I'm 100%, you know, that they're still fishing, and I'm 100% happy with the spots. Yesterday, obviously, a few more turned up yesterday, and the guy opposite me, he was out in the boat, so there's a lot of boat activity in front. Now today, obviously everyone's settled into the swims, so that's not happening. So I'm hoping that lack of boat activity will see the fish draw in, get the confidence up a little bit more. I am starting to pick liners up on the two rods out in front, and I know that the 2 lads either side of me are leaving today, so maybe all that might go into my favour going into the last night. So I don't know exactly, you know, I've got itchy hands, you know, but I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm looking down the bank, I can see that, you know, there's nice slack water, and I'm itching to go down there and have a look, because I have seen fish down there before. But no, I am going to stick to my guns, and just ride it out now really, and see what happens. But I thought I'd show you obviously the rig that I had the bearded lady on. I lengthened it, obviously, you know, you're probably all familiar with this, and you can see it on there. But literally, yeah, it's just the 360 rig. It's the semi-stiff silk material from Corda, with a size 4 wide gape I use, and a yellow Northern Special. Just the flexibility this rig gives you, and the hook hold that it came with the fish on was unbelievable. So yeah, that's where that's where I came up with, and that's what did me the fish on that session previously. So yeah, unless I have anything else that potentially might crop up on this diary piece, which I'm pretty sure it probably isn't, because it's Stoneacres all said and done, I'm going to finish this brew, keep hawk-eyeing the water, and keep my fingers crossed that I'll have something to show you in the morning. Guys, well, last night was one of them nights really. The wind died down, it went lovely flat calm, and looked really good for a bite. Unfortunately I did get a bite, but it was one of them tench, so yeah, I didn't really get that other rod back out. I did see a really good fish, not on my spot, somewhere else on the lake, which I will now go and investigate on the way home. Probably trickle a bit of bait in, and maybe another area sort of prime for my next trip. But like I said, you always learn when you come here, so
Obviously, you know, my sessions so far, I've always learned and watched where the fish go, and I've seen some of the, you know, some of the A team and the jewels of the lake on the bank, and I've, you know, managed to be privileged to be part of their captures and take photos and stuff, and obviously managed to bank one myself. So yeah, prep a couple of zones now, get these rods back in because I've got to get back home, and hopefully as the season progresses I can get another one on the bank. See you again.